The misreporting on this has been atrocious.
Okay,
Secondly,
I appreciate
he was
the
not, no, Bill, it's important. He was not mistakenly sent to El Salvador.
A federal judge issued a scathing critique of the Trump regime for failing to comply with a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that required the return of a man who had been wrongfully deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador. U.S. District Judge Paula Xinis expressed frustration that no action had been taken to bring back Kilmar Abrego Garcia, despite the High Court's directive. She also dismissed a recent Oval Office appearance by Donald Trump and El Salvador's president, where they made light of Abrego Garcia's situation as insufficient to meet the court's mandate. Nothing has happened, Judge Xinis said, emphasizing her dissatisfaction during a hearing just one day after senior Trump officials attempted to reinterpret the Supreme Court's language in a way that absolved them from responsibility. Their legal team argued the administration was limited in its ability to enforce the return and that the courts lacked the authority to compel the president's actions beyond removing domestic legal barriers. Judge Xinis, however, wasn't convinced. She ordered the administration to present sworn testimony within 2 weeks, detailing any efforts made to repatriate Abrego Garcia, a notably fast deadline reflecting the urgency she sees in the matter. Trump White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller, though, has other ideas.
First, we won the Supreme Court case. Clearly, 9-0. A district court judge said unconscionably that the president and his administration have to go into El Salvador and extradite one of their citizens, an El Salvadorian citizen, so that would be kidnapping, that we have to kidnap an El Salvadorian citizen against the will of his government and fly him back to America, which would be an unimaginable act and an invasion of El Salvador's sovereignty. So he appealed to the Supreme Court, and it said clearly, no district court can compel the president to exercise his Article 2 foreign powers in any way whatsoever. DOJ called me after that Supreme Court ruling and they said, this is amazing. We won this case 9-0. We are in excellent standing here. So this has been portrayed wrong for 72 hours in the media. They said the most a court could ever compel you to do would be to facilitate return, which would basically mean if El Salvador voluntarily sends him back, we wouldn't block him at the airport. We would put him back into ICE detention, and then he would be deported either back to El Salvador or somewhere else. The Supreme Court said that is the most the government can be expected to do. So we won the case handily. The misreporting on this has been atrocious.
Okay,
Secondly,
I appreciate
he was
the
not, no, Bill, it's important. He was not mistakenly sent to El Salvador.
Okay, so do you still
He's
believe
an illegal
he is a
alien
member of
from
MS?
El Salvador?
Central to the dispute is how the administration interprets the Supreme Court's directive that it must facilitate Abrego Garcia's return. Though the administration initially admitted the deportation was an internal mistake, it maintained that its responsibilities ended once domestic legal impediments were cleared. Government attorneys, including Drew Ensign from the Justice Department, even indicated that if Abrego Garcia were to return, they might move him to a different jurisdiction or seek to undo the ruling that blocked his removal in the first place. Judge Xinis pushed back, noting that facilitate clearly implies a duty to actively secure the man's release from custody in El Salvador. She pointed out inconsistencies in ICE's previous statements and demanded concrete evidence. "I need facts," she said pointedly. The administration has argued that the issue was raised at the highest levels when Trump, during a news conference, asked the El Salvadorian president if he was supposed to smuggle Abrego Garcia back across the border. The judge found this unconvincing. "That's not a real response," she said. And the comments about smuggling, if barriers were being removed, there'd be no need to smuggle anyone. Judge Xinis instructed Abrego Garcia's legal team to submit by Wednesday a list of questions for government officials, allowing them to depose up to 6 individuals, including senior officials from ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. "Cancel vacations, cancel appointments," she told Ensign firmly. "This is not business as usual." Following the hearing, Rina Gandhi, representing Abrego Garcia, described the judge's ruling as a victory, but stressed that their work wasn't over. "We haven't brought Kilmar back yet," she said, "but now we can start getting the facts and holding people accountable." Gandhi also accused the administration of deliberately ignoring the Supreme Court's ruling. This is a case where the government unlawfully deported a man, separating him from his family and his children, and has done nothing to correct it, despite being ordered by the highest court, she said.
In 2019, he was ordered deported. He has a final removal order from the United States. These are things that no one disputes. Where is he from? El Salvador. Where is he a resident and citizen of? El Salvador. Is he here illegally? Yes. Does he have a deportation order? Yes. A DOJ lawyer who has since been relieved of duty, a saboteur, a Democrat, put into a filing incorrectly that this was a mistaken removal. It was not. This was the right person sent to the right place. Now, some have said, well, but he had a thing called a withholding order. So a withholding order means you've been ordered deported, but an immigration judge is saying you cannot go back to a particular country. Here's the thing. If you are a member of a foreign terrorist organization, you cannot have a withholding order. Since he's in MS-13, there is no withholding order.
You just answered my question.
The gang that he is accused of being persecuted by doesn't exist anymore in El Salvador. The 18th Street gang is gone. So you have an illegal alien from Bill, where are we supposed to send the illegal alien from El Salvador?
You haven't even allowed me to ask you a question. Are you convinced he is still a member of MS-13? That was your original charge.
Yes. But here's the thing, Bill. Yes, but here, not only am I convinced of it, not only is El Salvador convinced of it, Bill, he's an illegal alien from El Salvador.
Meanwhile, during a private conversation between Trump and the El Salvadorian president that was caught on a hot mic, Trump spoke about deporting homegrowns, U.S. citizens, to El Salvador, and said that the president would need to construct 5 new detention centers. This meeting was sharply criticized, with some reporters highlighting how the two leaders appeared to bond over their shared views on incarceration and human rights, or lack of. Indeed, the U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, declined today to say whether Trump's suggestion of removing U.S. citizens and sending them to an El Salvadorian gulag was legal. Trump said homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, could be sent to El Salvador and imprisoned. Well, it was the Fox News host Jesse Waters who asked Pam Bondi if the idea was legal. Bondi didn't give a full answer. She said these are Americans who he is saying have committed the most heinous crimes in our country, and crime is going to decrease dramatically because he has given us a directive to make America safe again. These people need to be locked up as long as the law allows. We're not going to let them go anywhere, and if we have to build more prisons in our country, we will do it, she said. Trump has previously said he loved the idea of deporting U.S. citizens to El Salvador. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, said Trump simply floated the idea. During today's White House briefing, Leavitt was asked whether it was legal to deport U.S. citizens to Central American prisons. It's a legal question that the president is looking into, she said, saying that Trump was only considering the actions for those Americans who are the most violent, egregious, repeat offenders of crime. Lawyers and other experts say the idea is clearly illegal. According to recent reports, senior White House officials, including Stephen Miller, are examining whether there is a legal basis to revoke citizenship from individuals who oppose Trump's views. At the same time, the administration is pressuring institutions like Harvard by threatening to withhold funding unless they meet ideological standards. These efforts suggest a broader push to silence dissent, potentially even targeting individuals for deportation based on their political beliefs. This represents a stark and troubling shift in the country's political landscape. A constitutional crisis, undoubtedly. Now the assault on First Amendment rights to free speech, the erosion of constitutional protections, and the use of government power to target critics. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.